Hi everybody, it's Lou Sims from Lou Sims Papercrafter, and I'm here to share my first project using the new designer choice dies for November, and they're called Damask Strip dies. Now, designer choice dies are just going to be released every month, limited supply, so there's a lovely exclusivity to them. Now, these ones, as I said, are called Damask Strip. I have a video prior to this, having an up close and personal with the actual dies. So if you want to have a look at that, by all means do, and I'll put a link below into the description box. Anyways, back to this project. Now, I've cut some of the parts out that I need. And although the strips are more rectangular than square, I thought it would be nice to see how we could use them to create a square card. So I've cut the corners out, and they are part of this month's release as well. And I've cut myself a series of squares from different Craft Perfect card. I'll link the different colours below, or I'll add it to the video. Now, this one here, I think is 11 or 11.5 centimetres, and we're going to cut some detail into it, but the idea was I can then sit my corners around the edge to frame all the detail in the middle. Okay, so I'm going to start die cutting the different elements that I need, and I'll fast forward and stop and explain what I'm doing as I go along. So let's grab the machine. Right, I've done my die cutting, and what I've done is I've created myself the frame, as you saw, and then what I did was I positioned the actual die I wanted to use inside. So I've now got two parts going through, and then those will then get layered up onto that one there. So each one can be seen in different ways. Now at the same time, I've cut out one of the circle dies. Let me get a white piece of the card that you get with it, and this one has a sentiment, thank you. You also get a sentiment that says with love as well, but I've chosen this one and I've cut it out, and that will actually be mounted back into the bottom but further back. So these layers will then be layered up, and then that will sit further back, so we'll give the impression of a little bit more depth. Right, so what I'm going to need to do now, or what I want to do now, is I'm going to add some 3D foam to the back of my different layers, and I'll come back and show you exactly what I've done next. Right, I've got all the 3D foam on, so let's go about making the actual card. So I'm going to add my base layer on. I know some people have asked about getting this glue out and that it's quite stiff. As you can see, I store mine upside down all the time. It's just a habit I've got into, regardless, and I do it with all my glues actually, not just this one. Okay, so this layer is just going to go on here, as you can see, and that's my first layer. Now, I've put some foam pads on the back of the darker grey layer. Now, I could do it so it went that way, but we're going to do it so the panels go this way this time. But you do actually have different options about you want to do it. Just to give me a little bit of chance to get it in the right place, I am just going to add some glue to my 3D foam. It just gives me that couple of seconds chance. So let's line that up, and that one's going to sit on the top there. So I've got the lighter grey, the oyster grey, showing through. Now I've done the same with this panel, and I've added my 3D foam pads or strips, and I'm going to do exactly the same. I'm just going to add a little bit of glue, otherwise once it's down I'm not going to get much chance to move it. And also, because the frame is quite delicate, the way we've cut it, I don't want to tear it. So let's get that. And I'm just lining up. I'm going to try and line up the circle first and get that in place. And then one side at a time. Okay. Now I've got some glue oozing out from there, but I'm not too worried because that will dry clear. But just for neatness sake, we'll just get rid of it like that. Okay. Right, so that's the actual base of my card. And as you can see, just using the beautiful panels, aren't they stunning? How it's created some different layers just from what? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 die cuts. I mean, you could layer up all the dies and plan them on your plate a little bit differently to what I did, i.e. have your white going and underneath it have the darker grey. I mean, that would seem quite logical. Now, I've gone for quite a muted colour tone this time round, but this would work just equally as well if you changed your colours. I mean, it looked lovely if this was like a pale blue, or a beautiful like a pink red, like a fuchsia red. Okay, so what we're going to do now is to hide some of bits of my gluing, I'm going to actually add the frames. Now again, you've got choices. I could put the frames right to the edge. Now I said keep saying frames, don't I? They're actually corners, right to the edge. Or I could bring them a little bit closer and bring the pattern down. So it depends on how much detail you want to see or not see. I'm going to push them to the edge, okay, and we'll glue them in place. And I'm going to glue them quite flat. And where they overlap, after I've got everything on, I will get a piece of card and I'll, you know, with a bit of glue on and stick down any bits that are, you know, floating around. So let's put that one there. So this is a lovely corner. Beautiful ornate detail on it. Move this around. As you can see. I'm just concentrating on the edges at the moment and not worried about the main detail. So that's going to sit there. And that one's going to sit on there. Right, I'm just going to quickly wipe my hands because they're a bit gluey. Right. Now, so that now is the basis of my card. And we've got some beautiful layering. And with the different colours, you can see all the different shadows appearing through. In the die collection, you get 2 butterfly dies. A larger, let me get them, a larger one and a smaller one, as you can see. And they create lovely features within, you know, within the butterfly. So I've gone ahead and I've actually die cut some. Main reason is not because they're tricky to cut out, is that after watching myself back die cutting earlier, and it was wobbling and moving all over the place, I thought I'd save you the pain of, you know, heads wibbly wobbling everywhere. So I've cut myself some different butterflies. What I've also done is I've cut some from vellum, and they were done by taking the smaller die. Let's do that, and a pair of scissors would be good. And all I'm going to do is fold this in half. And I'm just going to take the die itself and I'm just going to draw around it. Now the die has got some beautiful, on this butterfly, scalloped edges. But because it's vellum, we could get away with not putting those edges in if we didn't actually want to. I'm just going to tidy up a bit. There we go. And then all I did was just cut them out slightly on the inside of my pencil line. There we go. And they're going to create a little bit of a delicate shadow for my coloured butterflies. Right, let's move that out of the way. So now I've got my other butterflies. And what I thought would be nice would be to actually begin layering them up in different ways. So I've got the white one here. I'm bringing a few of the same colours that we're using. Let's clean my nozzle. So I thought that one, oh, let me have a think now. Yeah, let's put it here. And then I'm just going to get a vellum strip and fold it. And I've cut some in yellow. I think it's the Craft Perfect. Well, it is Craft Perfect, but I think the name of it is Buttercup Yellow off the top of my head. I will link below. I just wanted to add in a little colour, but I didn't want it to stand out too much. I wanted it to, you know, to be complementary to what I was doing. I mean, I could have done a red or even gold would have looked nice. Let's just put that there. I'm just going to put that on there, and I'm going to do another one just down the bottom here, straight or at an angle. Oh, tricky, tricky, tricky. So I know I'm faffing. Well, let's do it at a little bit of an angle. Okay, and again I'm going to do the same. I'm just going to take a smaller vellum butterfly, and add it into there, and then a yellow one. Now I know the smaller butterflies, I'll just pick one up in a moment. Let me just get this in place. The smaller butterflies have a hole in the middle. Now you could fill these in lots of different ways. So I'm not worried about the glue because we are going to fill them. So let's get that going. So that's the basic composition. Now, as I said before, we could add gems in there. Pearls would look beautiful. We're going to use some Nouveau drops. But before I do that, I'm going to put my sentiment in. And this is the one that I cut out from the grey. And it's going to go and sit back in. I'm just going to find my tweezers, so I can just hold it. So it's going to go back in, and I'm lining it up within the circle. Let's make sure it's straight. Sorry if my head gets in the way. Here we go. So I've now got the sentiment recessed back. So if I lift it up, you can see that it's the same colour, but it's got a really nice depth to it, a recessed back. And the same with all the delicate detail on the card. Now, because we've got all the different layers and they're at different heights, you can actually then see each of the layers. Right, let's tidy up a little bit and I'll be back, and I'm going to bring in some Nouveau drops. Okay, Nouveau drops to ready, and I've chosen one of the crystal ones, and it's a gloss and it's buttermilk, because I thought this would go lovely with the butterflies that we've got. I think yellow on yellow is going to be a bit much. Okay, I've got a change of plan. I'm going to go and grab another set of drops. Back in 2 secs. Right, back, and I've gone to grab some white ones, and this is the gloss again, and it's just plain white, and I'm going to do the yellow ones, and that is my card. So I haven't done anything too spectacular. I've taken each of the different dies, so we've got the beautiful corner, and we've got the decorative layer there that's created our circle in the middle, and then I've taken the panels and put them either side, cutting cutting out through the white first so we can see below, and then just putting one of the sentiments in there and using the butterflies. Now you could layer this up in lots, as I said before, lots and lots of different colours, but that's my first project. My second project, which I will be sharing with you a little bit later, is completely different and uses the panels in a oh, well, why don't you wait and see? I hope you've enjoyed that. I'd love it if you'd subscribe to my channel. If you could hit the like button, that would be absolutely wonderful too. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back shortly with the second project.